Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today we're going to break down the movie Trolls World Tour. Now, if you like these kinds of videos, please comment down in the comment section about it. If you really like these types of videos and want to see me do more breakdown of the hidden meanings of movies, then go over and support the Patreon so that more of these videos can be made about the true hidden meanings, deeper diving meanings within movies that are put out in front of us that gives us these different images of control. So today we're breaking down the movie Trolls World Tour. Now, let me tell you, spoiler alert, serious levels of spoiler alert, because I'm going to break down like almost the entirety of the movie because there are so many subplots going on within this movie, dealing with hidden superiority complexes, how to dealing with the truth, and when you do finally deal with truth, you may be in a position to be able to celebrate people's differences truly and not in a fake level. Those are some of the major hidden agendas, hidden ideas within this movie. So we're going to break those down. Now, I watched the movie last night with the family and nephew Caden over there. And, it's COVID, so I can't get any privacy to shoot my videos. But we broke the movie, so we was breaking the movie down, understanding what some of these deeper meanings are. Now, everything that I'm going to tell you is not going to be an exact flow of the movie, but it's just important to hear them at the point that I'm telling you. All right, so Trolls World Tour. Let's go. Let's move. Let's boogie. Now, within this movie, although it doesn't open with this understanding, what you need to understand is that there are different lands, different places of different trolls who utilize different music genres. Now, you've seen this in the trailers where they show you that, they're discovery that there are more trolls, more lands. So within that, we got pop music, which is, if you've seen the first movie, you're familiar with that one. Country, funk, rock, classical, and techno. That's six kinds of music. Now, we know harmony, you need 7 strings, but this one, they start you with 6. That's a key point throughout the entirety of the movie, is understanding that they only have 6 strings, 6 forms of music that are primary, that owns their own land. Now, there are sub music genres. There's K-pop, there's yodeling, there's reggaeton, and smooth jazz. These are all pretty much kind of villainous within the movie, because they are bounty hunters, and you'll understand that in more detail a little bit later. But we have our 6. And pop, if you're a music fiend, if you really love music, then you already know that when you look at country, funk, rock, classical, techno, very distinct styles of music. But pop garners from all the branches of music and makes it their own. And makes it their own kind. There's a deeper dive into that within the movie a little bit later. But just have that brief overview understanding of that as we go deeper into the movie. So as the movie opens, it opens with the techno trolls who look like mermaids. They're down, they're having a party, they're getting down, they're doing their things, and then the rock trolls come up, and the rock trolls, they utilizing their rock music, pretty much destroys techno and takes their string, right? And as they take their string, it's branding it into rock. Now, the rock trolls are doing this because they want world domination. They want to bring everybody in unity under rock, and they want to destroy everyone and destroy everyone else style of music. This is a bit of foreshadowing of how cycles repeat themselves, right? So rock, they destroy techno, and then it cuts over, and we get to pop, and they're all happy, and everybody's singing their music, and what they're doing is seemingly celebrating the differences that they have within the pop trolls. They have pop trolls that got long legs. They got pop trolls that's covered in and seemingly made out of glitter. They got pop trolls that look like a big giant llama. Different types of pop trolls, but yet the primary pop trolls do all look similar and are the same. But in their thinking, they are celebrating differences. And they have this mindset that that's what they do under pop music. But then a message is delivered from the rock trolls saying that they want their string. But the queen, she's so hard-headed. Queen Poppy, doesn't listen to anybody else. She only listens to herself. And even when her father brings her into the secret place and tells her that what he says is the true history of the trolls, and lets her know and informs her that there is pop, there's country, there's funk, there's rock, there's classical, there's techno. When he tells them the true history, that their ancestors all originally were in harmony with each other. But then they started bickering and fighting, and all the elders fought. And then all the elders decided that the best thing for them to do is to take their string, their type of music, and go off to their own lands and then just be by themselves, so that they won't argue or fight, and just listen to and make their own type of music. This is the message that he says. If we think about this, this is somewhat of how history is sometimes written. That people, we all started in one place, but then because of differences, because of change, because of adaptations, we all separated. And one group of people went to Asia, another came to the Americas, another went to the South Americas, another went to Europe, and another went to Australia. And we all were separated, believing that our world was the entire world. But upon learning of each other, Queen Poppy thinks that everybody wants to be friends, and she wants to go and make friends with everybody and bring unity back to the people through just music and understanding, because they believe that they celebrate differences, but yet they don't. Now, because of this history that Poppy has, and it's overheard by Cooper, one of this llama-looking troll, he recognized that, oh wow, there are other trolls out there that look different, and one of them looks like him. So he goes on to this journey of self-discovery. We'll come back and circle back to him a little bit later on, but Cooper goes on a journey of self-discovery, and he's a little goofy, but he goes on the journey. But Queen Poppy is blinded by this, right? Which, as many people who you hear of a story, you hear of an ancient story, and you become blinded by that ancient story, believing that that is the only story, that is the way that it happened, believing that that is actual factual, and that everybody understands the same story. So Poppy and Branch, she somewhat enlists Branch to go with her. And while they're going, Branch, he's prepared. He doesn't know what he's going to face. So he brings weapons and things of that nature. And she kicks all the weapons because she thinks everybody's going to be friends. Everybody's going to be happy. There's not going to be any problems. But as they journey, they come to country. And country introduces itself through song, of course, in the movie. And just like many country songs, it's a sad song. It's a crying song about how you lose and how life is about dying and, that sort of thing. And Poppy hears this song and she's like, oh, that is so sad. Don't they know that music is supposed to bring you happiness? Music is supposed to bring you joy. This is foreshadowing. This was foreshadowing. And then Poppy and her troupe decides we're going to demonstrate to you and show you how music is supposed to be. And they do the best pop songs ever to bring happiness. And they do a whole montage, a mix of songs, thinking that they're going to enlighten these country people. Now, what does that sound like? That sounds like superiority. That sounds like how over the history of man, groups have went into other groups and said, we're more superior than you because of our technology. We're more superior than you because of our race. We're more superior than you because of our religion. We're more superior than you because of our culture. So Poppy, although believing that they are diversified, believing that they accept people who are different, when she truly finds someone who is different, what she wants to do is change who they are, change how they exist. She has determined that how she exists, how her land is the right way to be. Whereas how country is the wrong way to be. That music can only be uplifting, that it can only be happy, that it cannot be this deep soul searching or deeper understanding of lifestyle music that country presents. So she goes to try it. And when she does, unlike the conquering hero, she is jailed. We know in history, if a group had the greater technology, they usually conquered the other people and forced those people to live the way that they live, to have an understanding of life the way that they have an understanding of life. We know in the truth, those who come in, the conquering heroes, are not jailed by the people. Now, there are instances where a group went into a land that was well defended, and those people were jailed. They were well defended, and those people were kicked out. They were well defended, and those people did pass on. They died. So we know that true history shows both. But we have to ask ourselves, the majority of history does not demonstrate that. The majority of history shows that those who have better technology will dominate and force the others to abide by how they live, deeming their way of life to be the right way of life, and truly not celebrating the diversity that they claim to celebrate. Now, because the movie has to happen, Poppy and Branch and Biggie, they escape. They escape through the help of the seemingly, and this is an agenda within the movie as well, the seemingly helpful country troll who says that everyone should be celebrated for their differences and not jailed for it. The seemingly helpful country troll helps them to escape, and they all escape. And they escape, get onto a boat, and they're sailing off to go find another land. And in doing so, because they want to get there and help the other people, and go in doing so. But the movie cuts to a battle between classical and rock, and it's an interesting battle here because rock shows up to destroy classical, right? And when classical gets ready to defend himself, I believe the exact they defend themselves with Beethoven's Fifth, right? You know, I think this Beethoven's Fifth, so don't quote me in the comments. Let me know if I'm wrong, but you know, the dun 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 dun, that sound, and then rock reflects that back, but in rock style with the same dun dun dun, which we know that many of the great rock riffs comes from classical music, but they reflect it back to destroy classical music. So oftentimes what you produce, what a group, a culture produce, has been reflected back to destroy them, augment it back. Let me give you an example. The Chinese developed gunpowder, but the Europeans reflected it back in guns and cannons. Just let that soak in for a moment, and you'll understand that battle between classic and rock held a lot of meaning of how your gift, your talent, your natural resources sometimes can be reflected back to you as a weapon. So we had this battle of classic and rock. Now, from this, rock goes into a state that reminded me of dictatorship. You see, rock music, the rock queen, although she was lonely, although she was ruling, although she wanted friends, was determined to make her father happy, which was brilliantly played by Ozzy Osbourne, personally, make her father happy, to destroy all other forms of music and bring everybody under unity, because she knew the truth, and she especially hated pop music. So when Pop sent a letter trying to be a friend, she very much did not trust pop music, and so she goes through this process of saying that she's going to bring in the greatest bounty hunters. These bounty hunters were represented by K-pop, reggaeton, and smooth jazz, and yodeling. Now, they all showed themselves who they were, and they were sent off. But yodeling wasn't there, which is an interesting thing later on in the movie. So yodeling wasn't there. So she goes into this dictatorship mode where she shows that she's going to turn all the land into rock. music. But yet, whichever bounty hunter brought her K-pop, pop's string, they would be able to keep their brand of music in this tiny, tiny little space, this tiny, tiny little island that you barely can even see on the map. This reminds me of a quote that I seen, a story that I saw recently. It may be correct, it may not be correct, but the idea of it is correct. Now, the story goes as such, and it's attributed to Stalin, but I don't know if it's actually, I didn't research it to look and see if it was actually something that happened with Stalin. But the message is clear, and the message has rung true throughout history, especially when dealing with a dictatorship. The story goes that Stalin was sitting in his court, and he grabbed a chicken. And he took this live chicken, the chicken was alive, took the live chicken, and he pulled all the feathers out of the live chicken. Of course, the chicken is hollering and screaming as he's doing this. And after he had pulled the feathers from the chicken, he threw the bloody heap of a chicken down on the ground, still alive, and writhing in pain. And then he stood up and took a few pieces of grain and tossed them in front of the chicken. And then as he walked away, the chicken followed him as he dropped little pieces, little crumbs of grain. And then he said to the court, the people can be battered, the people can be bruised, the people can be torn apart. But as long as you give them scraps that they feel that they need, they will continue to follow you. Many people look at this as a political statement and as a societal statement. But it is a true statement. Whether it actually happened, I don't know. Whether Stalin actually did this, I don't know. But the story still rings true in how dictatorships work. And although Rock, who are gray in color, trolls who want to retake over the world and bring everybody into unity, but that unity under Rock, wanted to give whoever brought her what she needed, a little piece of crumb. She's telling them that I'm going to batter and bruise everyone, but the crumb of an island where you get to keep your music, you'll get to keep. In life is cyclic. History repeats itself. The more crumbs, and when we accept crumbs, when we just take crumbs, but remain to be battered and bruised by the authority, then we will never, ever truly be free. Many people will miss that part of this movie. But if you see it, let me know in the comments when you catch it. So after she goes through this process, now, let me backtrack a little bit. Earlier in the movie, we see that Cooper, while on his journey, is going through mirages, and he's at his end. He's at his wit's end. And then he's abducted by an alien ship, which is so funny when he's abducted because first, it's so hot that the sun is sweating. That was funny. And then he's abducted and the sun is like, oh my gosh. So that part is just hilarious to me. The movie does have a lot of funny parts to it and some adult humor. But he's abducted. Now, this abduction happens again because after Rock goes through her entire process, then Branch and, first Biggie gets mad and he leaves, and then Branch and Poppy are abducted. And it turns out that they're abducted by Funk, George Clinton. They're abducted by Funk. And when they are abducted by Funk, they run back into Cooper. Cooper found out that he is actually a Funk troll who was lost at birth, found by Pop trolls, and was raised Pop. He also finds out that his twin brother is a hip-hop troll, and that trolls are different. That trolls have that their map of just pop, country, funk, rock, classical, techno, the bounty hunters of K-pop, yodeling, reggaeton, and smooth jazz are not the only styles out there. So he's a hip-hop troll. And then when Queen Poppy tries to tell Funk about what's going on with Rock because she's seen the destruction that they've created over in classical, Funk already knows it but doesn't trust Pop. And then Pop tells Funk about their history, the true history, and Funk is like, no. Especially the son, actually Prince D, says, no, let me tell you the true history. Your history has been copied and pasted and put together to reflect something that seems nice and sweet for your people. But the truth is that yes, everyone was in harmony, that the 6 strings of music were in harmony, but then Pop started borrowing and sampling and taking from everyone else's music to create their own, and then took all the strings and tried to dominate and take over and rule all forms of music. And then the other elders took their strings and ran away from Pop. So she learned that her history wasn't true, that her history was a facade in order for pop music to feel like they were the good guys. And Cooper's family, who were the kings and queen, demonstrated this. So this was a big break for Pop, because she learned of her true history, that the map was out of date. And then when rock came to destroy funk and take their string, Pop wanted to help, but they were dismissed and expelled because they were not trusted. And so Cooper released them, freed them, and they saw that funk lost the battle between rock and funk. Now at this point, Poppy and Branch get into an argument because Poppy just does not listen. She still does not listen, hasn't listened from the very beginning, and they break up. They go their separate ways. During this time frame, Branch is captured by K-pop and reggaeton, which is interesting because it just shows that the subs are still out here fighting for scraps to get there, right? And once they capture Branch, and then it moves on, and then Poppy is standing there with who she thinks is her friend. And her friend sees that she has the string for Pop and is telling her to run, because one of them is having a difference of opinion. And when they tear themselves apart, it's realized that they were actually, the cowboy was actually the yodelers in disguise. That they were the yodelers in disguise. So sometimes those who you think are helping you could be your enemy. Those who you think are your friend, who's benefiting you, those very well are the ones who will stab you in the back, because as the yodelers separate, then here is rock, and they take Pop's string so that she can play the ultimate riff on her guitar. Now at this point, Rock has captured the last string, right, calling it the worst string because of his borrowing and sampling. So at this point, you come to an understanding that everybody seemed to have known this true history except for Pop. And Pop was this force that was trying to continuously dominate other people and wasn't recognizing people's differences. Now, when she was with funk, she started realizing some of the differences is cool and good, but mainly because her friend Cooper was already with them. So sometimes those who are in power think that they are accepting because they see that, oh, a friend of mine is also part of the difference, so maybe it's not so bad. But at this point, everybody seemed to have known what was going on, what the truth was. And later on, we find out that Poppy's father, he actually did know the truth, or it's inferred that he did know the truth and tried to keep his side safe and away from them, which shows that powers that are in control will keep information away from people in order to give them this false sense of truth, false sense of security, false sense of goodness within who they are. So in this, we see that Rock now is want to take over, wanted to be the dictator, and as she plays her ultimate riffs, doesn't know what it does, but it turns people into rock zombies, right? And of course, now we get into the more of a Disney, Pixar-ish kind of film where Poppy realizes that she was wrong and that diversity should be celebrated and that they have to make amends, and so she outwits the rock queen, and breaks all the strings, and everybody turns gray. Everybody turns gray, right? But then Cooper, who was born a funk troll, well, he was an egg as a funk troll, stolen, raised as a pop troll, journeyed to find his truth, and still remain a pop troll in the funk family, heart starts beating. and that plays over the speaker system. And then his brother starts beatboxing. And they realize that music is in the heart, and that it's not within strings. And the heart allows for everybody to start singing. And of course, the pop queen starts singing, and then her color comes back, and everybody starts singing, and everybody is now part of the whole rainbow, because the seventh chord of heart brought about harmony within everyone. So in watching this movie, we can see that there is a overwhelming idea of hidden superiority, fake truth that people believe in, that gives them a peace about themselves, and that in order to come and celebrate differences, we have to have and find that it is from within and not a string that gives us our peace and gives us our harmony, that allows us to celebrate each other's differences, that through the heart we can all sing in harmony. Yet the song was still pretty much a pop song that had some guitar riffs in it and things of that nature, a little bit of funk. So it was this hodgepodge of a song. In our existence as people, we have to ask the question, what is true history? And for the history that doesn't favor us, then we have to accept it, that our ancestors weren't all that great. And we find this in every group, whether you're talking from an Afrocentric group, talking from a European group, talking from an Asian group, talking from a Native American group, it doesn't matter. We all have dictators, and we all have enslavers, and we all have totalitarians throughout our history. Every country has a dark side. Every politician, every political group, government has a dark side. Every religion has a dark side. Every culture has a dark side. And it is not that we should ignore that dark side nor compare it to others' dark side, but we should recognize in all things there is that portion where evil was done to another group, in the idea of superiority, in the idea of we're celebrating diversity, and realize what that truth is. And from that truth, we go and look into our heart and do as I always say, if what makes you happy, then keep doing it. But if what makes you happy interferes with someone else's ability to make for them to be happy, then that, my friends, is evil. Even though Rock understood the truth, when Rock tried to force everyone to become Rock, she was being evil. When Pop was ignoring their true history and wanted to force country to be like them, she was being evil. True harmony, true peace comes from the fact that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as long as it doesn't interfere with someone else's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So the golden rule always applies. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you don't want to be stolen from, don't be a thief. If you don't want to be a slave, don't enslave other people. It's as simple as that. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. And like I said, in the comments, let me know what I missed. In the comments, let me know if you agree or disagree. And in the comments and on Patreon, let me know if you want more of these style videos. Y'all have a great day.